Welcome. This is Dr. Barnali Dixon. Today I am going to talk about the initiative that we are undertaking in your neighborhood called Storm Squad. I will start with the background information. Why are we building the Storm Squad and how Storm Squad will benefit your neighborhood? These are our list of our sponsors, so you are aware of it, who are our partners and sponsors. What is Storm Squad? Storm Squad is a neighborhood-based initiatives that we are undertaking with various partners to help promote equitable resilience and aid with disaster preparation and recovery. Studies have shown that FEMA disaster dollars always follows the money, not necessarily the needs. Needs often remain hidden. So our goal is to help reveal that hidden need so the resources can be allocated to help promote equitable resiliency. Here is the history of Storm Squad. For almost 20 months we are meeting regularly to develop this framework. We have an executive board, an advisory board, and we need community members. And that community members is the reason why I'm here, and these community members can be as a participant in this Storm Squad as an ambassador, CERT member, or storm captain. Let me give you some background on climate impact. Pinellas County is the number 6th among top 10 counties in the nation in terms of risks. Large swath of population in Pinellas County lives in less than 4 feet above local high tide, which means these communities will be impacted by king tide during sunny days. These king tides and also the higher sea level also impact drainage capacities of the storm drains, which means it will impact the clearing of the water when it rains. So there are multiple issues these communities in Pinellas counties are expected to experience. It should also be noted that frontline communities, basically brown and black communities, experience the impact of climate change first and worst. So we wanted to create, through our extensive research that we have undertaken in our universities, to develop a framework that will help black and brown community prepare and adapt to this climate-related disaster. Here are some pictures of Pinellas County. Streets gets flooded through storm, even in a simple afternoon thunderstorms that are common in Florida. Streets also flood through king tides. And those of you who live in this neighborhood, you know what are the wet spots in your neighborhood, areas that flood. I don't have to come tell you, but what I can do through our systems that we are developing, that has a computer platform as well as a community engaged platform, that's why I'm here to talk to you, together can help us aggregate the data, collect the data, systematize the data collection so we can make informed decisions. Neighborhoods in higher elevation are usually not in the flood zone, and we traditionally do not expect those zones to flood. Those are also often not evacuation zones. However, hurricane has a wind impact as well as flood. These higher elevation areas or neighborhoods located in the higher elevations are at risk for wind damage due to structural integrity issues. Going back to the issues of flood, even if you live in the higher elevated areas or areas with higher elevation, you can have flooding due to poor maintenance of storm drain. The storm drain problems are also compounded by the rising sea level, as it impedes the capacity of these drains to function at its maximum level. Neighborhoods are also flooded by king tides. Here are some pictures taken in South St. Pete. So what we want to do, we created a platform called CRIS, Community Resiliency Information Systems. This information is available to you. You can analyze, see what is the status of your risk or vulnerability in the context of flooding, hurricane, storm surge. So you know, and you or your homeowners associations can develop a plan, work with the policymakers to develop solutions. The QR code on the right shows takes you to the CRIS website. This is also a smartphone compatible website, meaning you can access this website and all the informations that are available to you using your smartphone. It also allows you to report a problem. So if you see that your neighborhood is flooding, you can actually take a picture and report. This will allow us to aggregate all the data about the problem areas, because you as a community member know more than about your community and the areas that are prone to flooding through king tide, through poor maintenance of the drainage, or due to storms. And we want to know that ahead of time, because we can safely assume if areas are getting flooded during evening, afternoon thunderstorms, they will also be flooded when it comes to big named tropical storms or hurricanes. So we want your cooperation to collect and upload this data so we can see the problem areas for individual neighborhoods. We wanted to know the neighborhoods and their risks and their resiliency and their vulnerability. Everybody will be impacted by climate change and disaster, but not everybody will be able to recover the same way. Our goal is to help the recovery process by aggregating data so we know the hidden needs, so we can provide information and resources. We work with the county emergency officials to get the help you need once we have the aggregated data. We also want the storm squad, who are basically neighborhood representative, have the opportunity to work with the county emergency managers as well as their whole community engagement program. So you know the person who you can call should you need something during and before or after disaster. And they will also know who to contact in your community should they need some information about what is going on in your neighborhood. Government is there to help, but we can help government serve us better. That's why we created the platform, and that's why we are creating the community engaged arm of that platform, what we call Storm Squad. Here are some maps that you can find from CRIS that shows the race and ethnicity distribution. We are in the pilot phase of the project. We have already created the platform, but the community engagement effort requires building trust, working with the community, and it takes time. And we are piloting this process in 5 communities, that is Bartlett Park, Harbordale, Palmetto Park, Jordan Park, and Childs Park. These are all grant-funded projects. Childs Park is funded by different funding agency. Therefore, I have indicated with a different color in this map. Here is a map of percent of renters, because when you are a renter, your challenges to prepare for disaster or recover from disaster is completely different than if you are a homeowner. Oftentimes, renters' interest and homeowners' interest are in conflict. So, and also renters may not have the rights to board up the house or elevate the air conditioners, but it is your home. So you may be impacted if you do not have the house that in good proper conditions. So you need different kinds of resources to recover and be resilient if you are a renter as opposed to if you are a homeowner. Here is the vehicle ownership. Now I have plotted that against access to grocery stores. Those blue circles indicates 2.5 miles buffer, meaning that you can only walk that much distance if you are going to be carrying your own groceries. But this could be very large distance and could be very challenging for people with a heart disease or hypertension or diabetes and the middle of the hot summer day. So the communities that lack vehicle ownership, they cannot also go to shelter easily. There are county provides transportation, but still they have to go to the meeting spot to use or access the county provided transportation to go to shelters, because these needs are different, the communities are different. We cannot have one size fits all approach. We need to know the unique needs of each of the community, and that's why we are here. We want to hear from you. What is your unique need so we can get you the help? If everybody in the neighborhood has a car, they may not need a county transportation to go to the shelter. But if the community does not have vehicle ownership, they may need county assistance to go to the shelter. If the people have in that community, they can walk, they are okay, they can probably go to the meeting center and catch the bus. However, if your neighborhood has a lot of disabled people that needs help or elderly people cannot carry their stuff that they need to go to the shelter, we need a different kind of approach for them. We cannot just tell them, carry your cart, and while you have a mobility issue, walk to 2 miles to go to the meeting center and we'll give you a ride from that meeting center to the shelter. We need a different approach, but we do not know those hidden needs. But you know your hidden needs, you know your neighbors, and that's why we are here. We are trying to formulate a storm squad. That's the community aspect of this platform, what we call CRIS, to create an information flow so we know the unique needs of the community by neighbor helping neighbors. And we are here to not to tell you what to do. We are here to find out what is that you need. You tell us what is that you need. We'll aggregate that information and give it back to the decision makers, so those decision makers then can allocate the resources. And you can also hold those decision makers accountable to this. Brownfield and hurricane facilities of concerns are common in Black and brown community throughout the country. Pinellas County is no exception. If you notice over here, some of the neighborhood that we are working on does have hurricane facilities of concerns. So if the hurricane were to hit these neighborhoods and impacted these storage facilities, these neighbors will be at the forefront of experience this spill of the chemicals. So we need to have a proactive approach about it. You guys at the very least need to know who to call, and that's the Storm Squad can help. As the Storm Squad, the neighborhood based initiatives will know the person in the emergency offices, and emergency offices will also know the name of the person in your neighborhood. So you guys can talk to each other. You can get the help that actually is needed by the neighborhood. And we know that disaster only exposes vulnerability of the population that was already vulnerable. So we want to be proactive, and the platform that we created, CRIS, as well as the Storm Squad initiatives, is an approach to be proactive, community engaged, neighborhood based initiatives, so we can aggregate the information of your unique need and work with the county officials to get you the information and resources you need to prepare and to be resilient. Here are the maps of nuisance flooding. These are the flooding that happens due to king tide in a sunny day. And the frequency of these floods are going to increase as the sea level rises. This has implications because if you live in a brown field, those water will resuspend chemicals in the soil and you will be exposed to those. So you need to be aware of those risks. If you are close to the dog park, those dog wastes will carry pathogens. Those pathogens can also impact your health if you are in close contact with those water that is flowing through the dog park and in your neighborhood. We need you to know that so you can be prepared to avoid those water contacts. Here is a map of Cat 1 storm surge. Bartlett Park and Harbordale, two of our pilot neighborhoods, will be at risk of flooding and storm surge. So we want you to know about the risks of these disasters and biophysical vulnerability. While Childs Park, Palmetto Park, and Jordan Park in this map are not vulnerable to storm surge, as I mentioned earlier, the other part of the hurricane is wind damage. These communities can be still impacted by wind damage. They're still socioeconomically vulnerable due to structure, construction, or renting status of their housing systems. Also, they may or may not be able to evacuate due to cost of evacuations. They may or may not be able to evacuate to the nearest shelter due to vehicle issues. And also buying those supplies cost money. Some families may not have extra money to buy those hurricane preparation kits. So telling them to buy a hurricane preparation kit may not be the solution. A better solution could be telling them where the NGOs are or the faith institutions are that can provide you a free hurricane preparation kits. And that's what we are trying to do. When we aggregate the informations, we give it to you. They're available to NGOs and they're also available to government. Of course, we protect your privacy, but the aggregated information at the neighborhood level now shows the hidden needs. So the NGOs can come and government can send the resources you need or information you need. And this customization of information is the only way we can become a resilient nation. We can actually try to adopt and cope with the climate challenges and develop a plan to be resilient, and that resiliency framework can be equitable and addressing all diverse needs of all diverse communities. Here is a Cat 5 storm surge maps. So these storm surge maps shows that part of Childs Park will be impacted. Initially at Cat 1 it was not. So we need to know the different strategies for it. We cannot have a one-size-fits-all solutions or access to information and resources. We need to be able to customize it. And that's why we need the CRIS platform and your help to aggregate the information so we can customize it. Now, reaching out to the community members is the fundamental goal of Storm Squad, so we can dovetail the systematic data collection process that CRIS can facilitate with the trust building in the community. I want the community to have trust in their own representation, and we are here to facilitate that representation. We are not going to select the representative in your neighborhood. We want you to tell us who will be the right person to represent your neighborhood in this Storm Squad. and then we'll work with that person to train them to get the resources you guys need. For example, how to apply for FEMA assistance. There is a disaster SNAP available. There is a replacement SNAPs that are available. For example, if you lose food in your freezer due to electric outage, you can claim money. And we can train that neighborhood captain or storm captain to help you fill out those forms. At the very least, let you know those things exist. So that's the goal of the Storm Squad. So again, we are having the Storm Squad at 3 different levels. Starts with ambassador, then CERT member. CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Team, and the Storm Captain. These 3 levels were created because expectations are different and barriers are different. Anybody can be ambassador, meaning anybody can go promote Chris. And anybody can nominate who should be the storm captain from your neighborhood. So the ambassador has the least entrance to barrier. However, CERT members have to be having level 2 background check. So are the storm captains. So we need to make sure that we are inclusive and we are actually involving everyone. When I say the CERT members and storm captains have to be level 2 background checks, because if you are the representative and in this storm squad, however, you can create your own subgroup of other members. They do not need to be background checked, but to get the honorarium that we are planning to give to these members who are going to help you in your community, we need you to have background check at level 2. So I am going to go in depth to explaining the expectations of these 3 different levels, what is that we expect from you and what we will do for you. So the ambassador program was launched into the 7 neighborhoods that starts with Harbordale, Bartlett Park, Childs Park, Jordan Park, Campbell Park, Lake Maggiore Shores. The reason we have 7 neighborhoods because we wanted to reduce the barriers to entry. We wanted to be inclusive, and that's why we created the ambassador program. So for ambassador program, your goal is to essentially promote the CRIS. So you can use the CRIS yourself and ask your neighbors, friends, and family to use it. And also help us distribute flyers to promote CRIS or uploading flood pictures. And this level of commitment requires about 2 hours per month, and it includes 1 hour of meeting with us. We meet once a month at Enoch Davis Center, first Tuesdays of the month. 2 members from each of these 7 neighborhoods, and we are going to give you $200 one-time gift card for your efforts to promote this in your neighborhood. This is appreciation. This is not a job. This is appreciation that we value your time. If you get more than 2 ambassadors from your community, we are going to be using a rubric that is actually going to be available to you when you apply for ambassador program, and once you complete that rubric, we are going to be using that rubric to select top 2 candidates. For example, in your neighborhood, if you have 6 people who wanted to be ambassadors, we cannot pay the money to 6 people. We can only select top 2 candidates to honor them with one-time $200 payment. Names will be selected using the rubric. Here is the example of the rubric. And we will honor you at our next town hall. Ambassador can be a CERT team member, but CERT team member must have a level 2 background check. So in theory, a person, if he can passes the level 2, they can be ambassador. But if they cannot pass level 2, they can still nominate and recommend who will be a good person in your community that's going to help others. We want you to tell us who is the person who can help you and others. That's what we are essentially looking for from an ambassador. Here is the rubric. You have to attend the meetings, you have to table events, and you have to have a volunteer, and you have to have a knowledge sharing. Based on those criteria, once you complete your application and you submit your report based on what you have done, we will select 2 ambassadors per neighborhood based on that 7 neighborhoods I listed earlier. CERT members, again, we are going to select 2 members from each of the neighborhood to become a CERT team for our pilot project. This CERT team will be initiated in 4 different neighborhoods that are Bartlett Park, Harbordale, Jordan Park, and Palmetto Park. Again, for your time, we are going to honor you one-time payment of $450. Again, we are going to use the top 2. If you have 5 people want to be in the CERT, you are welcome. This is not restricted to any neighborhood or anybody as long as they can pass level 2 background check. However, we can only show our respect with honorarium to 8 people from these 4 neighborhoods. You must be able to complete USF forms, including tax IDs, and you must be able to check with your Social Security and tax advisor to make sure that this honorarium will not impact any benefits you may get. We cannot be responsible for those lack of benefits should it happen to you. You need to be responsible for it to figure it out before you apply to be CERT member and accept honorarium. Ambassador can become a CERT member, and you have to go through CERT training and learn the potential threats in your home, workplace, community, and work, and also ways to lessen the hazards, help prepare neighbors before disaster, assist neighbor after disaster, and distribute and collect surveys and upload flood-related pictures. We are going to have a cohort of 8 CERT members from these 4 communities. So you are going to work with each other, learn from each other, and help each other out too. We'll provide this 2 per neighborhood, one-time payment of $450. We'll be fair and we are going to be transparent. You guys will know who are those 2 representatives in the town hall receiving the awards. Again, we are going to use the same rubric. Once you sign up for CERT application and go through the background check and become a CERT member, we will provide you the rubric. You will know what is required and how you will become eligible to get that one-time honorarium for $450 upfront. Storm Squad team leader or the storm captain. This is the highest level of involvement will require because you will be working directly with the community members. After disaster, for example, you will be trained to help them fill out the FEMA forms, right? So you will be trained and that will take some time. So we want to honor your time, but also we want storm captain to be working closely with the neighborhoods, and we want from the community members to tell us who that person would be that you think will help the community, and that's the person we want to apply for this position. We want you to tell us who will be the right person for this job to help you, and we will go through the background check and all other official requirements to recruit that person to help you. So we'll train them so you will know blue sky and gray sky. Blue sky means before the storm comes. We are very flexible to anybody who is willing and able to do this job, and they're interested in working, and the community trusts this person to do the work. The trust is the big word over here. We are here to cultivate the trust with the community, and we want community to tell us who they trust to be their representative, and will work with them. So they will help us distribute the survey and flood data and also be part of the search team. This is, again, we are going to work with 4 neighborhoods: Bartlett Park, Harbordale, Jordan Park, and Palmetto Park. We are going to have 2 representatives from each neighborhood. Ideally, we'd like for the community member to nominate this person, so we can know that you trust this person, because we are here to build trust. So what we expect from this team leader: a CERT member can become a storm captain, trained to help connect community to emergency officials, work with the CERT members, will be trained to serve the community, help us distribute and collect survey and get the pictures of the flooding events in your neighborhood, the afternoon thunderstorms, king tide, named storms, all of this flooding. We want those to know where those things are happening, and you will lead your community members to submit those pictures and serve as a resource to the community, and ability to actively participate in the storm squad related activities, and must be able to provide tax ID and other required documents to USF. We will be, again, fair and transparent. This is 1 year only, 2 representatives per community, $450 a month. We'll provide you the laptop or tablet to work with the data collection, and also Chris will train you and will consult with you to schedule community events, and will work with you to get started you with the USF paperwork and all sorts of timesheets that you have to fill out. Sierra will be your contact person. So what we need from the child's part, it's slightly different. It is differently funded. So ability to, again, actively participate in storm squad related meeting, help organize town hall, promote flood pictures, and also upload the survey, and also give us feedback on Chris Hazard platform at design and implementation phase. This NSF funded project is going to be only applied to Child's Park. Again, for Child's Park, we are going to support 2 trusted community members who will be storm captains, and they are going to receive $2,000 per person per year stipend for 3 years. So the total amount will be similar between the first set of pilot studies, that is Jordan Park, Bartlett Park, Harbordale projects that I mentioned, and the Child's Park, but the distribution of the money will be a little different. So Child's Park will get $2,000 a year over 3-year period, whereas Jordan Park, Harbordale, Palmetto Park, and Bartlett Park will get $450 a month for 1 year. So again, we are going to do this particular project for 3 years, as I mentioned earlier, and Child's Park and Lilman are the 2 communities that we are going to work with it for this NSF funded project. We'll provide tablets and laptop, and we'll consult with you again with the organizing town halls, and we are going to cover all the expenses for venue rental, food, and that's true for all of the town halls that we ever do. We covered the expenses, but we are going to be happy to come to your venue and meet with you and talk with you and train the community members who are interested in it. The training is open to everyone who wants to be trained. However, storm captains must be trained, right? So there is a difference. So summary of commitments: ambassadors attending meetings can count for hours, and they need to commit about 3 hours per month. need to bring members to both meetings and town halls, need to distribute flyers to their communities, help promote survey data and identify the needs of the community, and need to self-report each of the meeting rubric, and they can also nominate who are going to be their great representative from their communities. CERT members need to do everything ambassadors do, plus attend virtual course and training, and need to do a community tabling events, and they will be actually putting in about 5 hours per month. And the Storm captains, this is the one we are going to pay $450 per month for your time and effort as an honorarium. So we'll be actually committing about 10 hours per month and take all the courses, and also minimum of 5 courses that can be filling out the FEMA forms or CRIS, how to use CRIS forms, or how to upload pictures forms. There are various course lists. You will get it once you sign up and go through the background check and get approved to be representing your community over here, and then advance the mission of the Storm Squad. So ambassadors, I really want you to promote Storm Squad, promote CRIS, and also bring people to the event so they get to know what we are doing, and also nominate who you think will be a good representative. Protect your interests, help the neighborhood in your neighborhood. So that's what we look for ambassadors, and we look for CERT to help the communities and storm captains to really serve as a resources for your communities. Thank you very much. So here are the ambassador forms and CERT forms QR code, and also the community survey forms. You are welcome to complete them. So this is our 2024 Storm Squad calendar. We meet monthly, first Tuesday of the month at Enoch Davis Center from 6 to 7. We do a town hall. Our next town hall probably will be June or July, and then September, October, depending on it. And then we have a final December dinner. We do like to rotate these events out, so go to different neighborhoods, the town hall especially, while our monthly meeting is always scheduled at Enoch Davis Center because it's very centrally located. We will rotate the town hall, and we are going to give you those information. You can go to the Storm Squad website. Here is the QR code for it, and the link for it called stormsquad.org. It's really simple, and you can actually go find out various events from there.